Hello everyone, and welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars Franchise Season 2 recap video. Today I'll be talking about Season 2 as we prepare for the Season 2 Offseason, which is going to be tomorrow, by the way, at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Twitch. So be there tomorrow for the stream, and we're going to recap everything today and talk about how Season 2 went. But obviously, after the way Season 1 went, we had to make some big improvements, and we did, despite falling short of where we thought we could be after how the season began. The season started in a very exciting way, unlike anything ever on my channel, with 4 straight victories and the first 3 being all amazing, come from behind, exciting wins. We started that in Week 1 against the Chicago Bears with Nataki Mason starting with Blake Bortles injured. And is there a scoring summary on here? No, but we had a 14-point fourth quarter. That was where Mason was running down the field and had the game-winning touchdown to Jameez Olawale. And then in Week 2, it wasn't as pretty. It looked like we might actually suffer our first loss there. And we pulled off an amazing comeback in the fourth quarter led by Case Keenum after Nataki Mason was injured. It was one of the most exciting games of the season. And Julius Thomas made one of the biggest catches he's ever made to help set up the game-winning points. And then it continued. In Week 3, we did it again against the Lions, and that's where we saw Nate Bell intercept, was it 1 or 2 passes? I know he had one against Crabtree. He might have had one against Megatron as well. Let me give that a look quick. That was, that's sacks. 2 interceptions in that game for Nate Bell. So that's when the Nate Bell show took off. There was no reason to not be excited. Then we won in more convincing fashion. We led almost the entire game against the Chargers. Actually, scratch that. We were bad in the first half, but we were better in the second half and didn't require a fourth quarter comeback. Then we fell off against the Raiders, but bounced back with 2 more victories against the Ravens and the Titans. We have not lost to the Titans in this series. We are 4-0. Then we lost to the Texans 26-3, a game that just kind of came out of nowhere, but then things started to really go downhill. We lost to the Colts 2013, lost to the Broncos 31-26. We had some issues on defense. The free safety position was a big concern with Byron Maxwell not playing well. Then we rebounded against the Vikings. They were dealing with some injuries, and we were able to slow down their offense enough to come away with a 30-23 victory. But then against a healthy Packer offense, we didn't fare as well, only scoring 9 points in a 19-point defeat. We bounced back against the Dolphins, who were also banged up like Minnesota. We beat them 2013. And then against the Chiefs, their defense was too much for us. We lost 27-17. Against the Texans, we played a much better game, but they showed up once again. Their offense matches up well against our defense. They're big, they're physical, and we don't have the secondary to really combat that. So it was very hard to defend them. And then by then, we were already knocked out of playoff contention at 8-7. We won in Week 17 with the offense just going off for 48 points. Our highest scoring output of the season, with Nataki Mason and Blake Bortles splitting snaps. The Colts didn't play well, and we unleashed more of a twin tight end focus that is a sign, perhaps, of things to come in Season 3. So that is kind of the season breakdown there. It started great. Then we were tested a little bit and did not respond with good enough offense, and the defense lost its consistency. So let's look at some numbers now and see how things compare to Season 1. I took a lot of notes from the first recap video I did so we could compare the improvement in terms of statistics. That was a 3-13 season with one of the most historically bad defenses ever, as our defense allowed the most points in NFL history, one more than the Baltimore Colts did back in 1981, I believe. We allowed 534 points. Now, let's look at what we did this year in terms of, let me just go to the standings quick, too, so you guys can see how that looks. But in the series now, I believe we are winless against the Texans, we're 1-3 against the Colts, and undefeated against the Tennessee Titans. So, 389 points for. That's actually up quite a bit. We had 336 in Season 1. So we scored more points. We allowed 534 points last year and allowed 423 this season. So a significant improvement. We were 6-2 at home, 3-5 on the road, 3-3 in the division, 3-1 against the NFC. That was all NFC North opponents, and 6-6 in the AFC. We were 1-1 in overtime games. So let me go back to that team stat breakdown, and we're just going to track improvement because like the big focus going into this year was improving the defense, and that saw the largest improvement. The offensive improvement was either not noticeable or just not enough. And to me, I was actually wondering if we scored less points because we actually were very good at getting first downs in Season 1. And we're going to start there because we were one of the top teams at getting first downs with 308 in Season 1. And we had 309 this year, so a slight improvement in something we were good at last year. Passing touchdowns, we had, how many of those last year? We had 20 passing touchdowns this year, 25. We had 13 rushing touchdowns in Season 1, and I'm not sure where that is hidden right now. Oh, here it is, 16. So we had 13 in Season 1, 16 in Season 2, so improvement there. Total offense, 8,200, which is a little bit above average, and, oh, is this stat correct? We only had 5,780 yards. I don't know. That seems like a lot of improvement. I'd take a wrong note there. I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. 57.66. There we go. We had 57.80 in Season 1, so we were down 14 yards. We had 39.51 for passing yards. Last year we were down 45 yards compared to last year. And then we had 1,829 rushing yards. We had 31 more than that in this season. We only averaged 21 points per game, and we upped it to 24.3 in Season 2. That's still not very good. You're still going to be a below-average offense at that point. And I think that we had much higher expectations given the receivers on the outside, Julius Thomas, year 3 of Blake Bortles, TJ Yeldon, defending Rookie of the Year. But the improvement was very, very marginal on the offensive side. Now, defense, we saw tremendous improvement. Total yards allowed. Where do we rank here? We are, looks like a little bit above average. We were under 6,000. Did I have this one written down? Sorry, here I'm checking my notes. I didn't keep that one. But passing yards allowed, in year 1 we allowed 43.18. We were down to 4,074 this year. In year 1 we allowed 2,306 rushing yards. Tremendous improvement this year with only 1,883. How does this rank? 11th in rush defense, and in terms of pass defense, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15th, so average. We went from one of the worst defenses all time to a unit that was usually average in some areas or above average. Points allowed, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, so slightly below average. Still allowing too many points, and there were some games that got away from us. In year 1, we only had 27 sacks. That was worst in the league. And we jumped up all the way to the top 10 with 49 this year, led by Dante Fowler in his double-digit sack season. We had one less interception this year. We had 17 back in year 1 with Devon House having 5 of those. We had 16 this year, so 1 a game. Let's go check out the conversions quick. Third down percentage was 48% back in Season 1, and we were at 47 this year. We need to get that a lot better. On fourth down, where were we? Looks like we were actually pretty decent here at 62%. 2-point conversions were still not very good. Red zone efficiency, we had the most tries, tied in first place. We scored, didn't have a lot of red zone turnovers. Looks like 31 red zone touchdowns. That is a little bit below average. And field goals, I don't want to be this high in field goals like we were back in Season 1. So we saw a lot of improvement, we did, but I think a lot of this has to do with how the season began. And we immediately were like, okay, this team's 4-0. Then they're 6-1 a few weeks later. But then you end up 9-7. Wow. Turnover differential was -9 in Season 1. It was -4 this season. So too many giveaways still. That's a theme. We're only seeing a little bit of improvement. Here are the season stats on the year. We had 20 interceptions as a team. That has to get lower. We had 25 passing touchdowns as a team. We were sacked a lot less in season 1. Do I have that stat? I don't. I'm not sure how many times we were sacked back in season 1, but this was a big improvement. It was 45 times. Still more than I would like. We have some areas to shore up on the offensive line. TJ Yeldon followed up his Rookie of the Year performance with 17 more yards than he had back in year 1 and 2 more touchdowns than his rookie season and only 2 fumbles. Very good year for him. He's the bell cow of the running game and probably needs to get the ball even more with how the passing game has struggled. Julius Thomas's numbers were down. I told you that would happen because I wanted to spread the ball around a bit more, and unfortunately, we didn't see enough players really take off as a result. I thought Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns were kind of disappointing this year. They had some big-time drop issues in that third quarter of the season. It was rough. Our passing game was ugly. Marquise Lee had a nice improvement in his stats and 729 yards. That's very good. A 13.3 average. He does a good job securing the ball most of the time, although there were some big drops, including one that really cost us a lot in Week 16. But for the most part, he had a good year. Charles Johnson had start of the year on injured reserve, but had some good moments. Didn't show that he could be a consistent starter, and especially with those catches in traffic, that's not his strength. The big positive this year in the passing game was the emergence late. Mercedes Lewis just wasn't doing a good job in run blocking, so I'm like, let's get the rookie involved. Let's see what Michael Riley can do. 4 touchdown catches. He took off late in the season, had a great Week 17, and even though he only had 15 catches on the year, he's one of the players that I think is most hyped up for his second year, or just season 3 in general. And with us perhaps going to a more twin tight end focus, Michael Riley could see a breakout year in season 2 if he can pick up where he left off. So Marquise Lee led the team in touchdown receptions, and the 2 tight ends here had 4. Riley easily had the best rate. In terms of blocking, these sack numbers are not perfect, but Jeremy Parnell led the team in sacks allowed, and what they register here, I'm sure he allowed more than that, and he is a player that I think needs to be upgraded over. His impact blocking is just too low to be trusted on that right side. AJ Cann also needs to improve. We have a nice little rookie who's going to his second year, and Ryan Cole, he could see some more snaps. He has very good ratings at guard. I think I drafted him to play center. Here is Luke Jokel, who's entering, or actually his contract is now expired, and he wants about $6 to $7 million a year, so keeping him is not going to be cheap, but I thought that he did his job this past season. Defensively, Rolando Mclean was a big signing for us. It was just a 1-year contract, but he was maybe the biggest reason why our run defense was better this season. It was significantly better. He led the way with 137 tackles. He does not miss very many. He's a sure tackler. And Sergio Brown moved to strong safety. He still had a lot of tackles this season. He was more of an in-the-box player. He did a great job at free safety, but I thought he played better as a strong safety, and that opens up what I want to do schematically on defense, which I'll talk about. Telvin Smith, 116 tackles. He is continuing to blossom into a great young outside linebacker. Byron Maxwell picked him up to play safety instead of corner, and he wasn't very good at defending the deep ball. He got benched, came back, played great for 2 games, but then had 2 more awful games to close the season. His spot is no longer safe at free safety, but he's under contract for 1 more year. Brandon Boykin did a good job as a nickel corner. He is limited in that he's not very physical. He's not a press guy, and he is really best suited to play in the slot, but he had only signed a 1-year contract with us, so to keep him around, we're going to need to give him a longer deal. Here's Nate Bell, perhaps the star of the season. Nate Bell with his 8 interceptions, and I assume it's a good time to announce it right now. I'm bringing back the touchdown montage and season highlight videos, and you're going to see plenty of Nate Bell on that one. So there's your announcement. It's coming. It's in the works. Nate Bell, 8 interceptions. Sergio Brown with 3. Telvin Smith with 2. Boykin, Bryan, and Dante Fowler each had 1. Here are the sack numbers. 16.5 for Dante Fowler. I gave him the chance to start. He was an awesome pass rusher, a very clutch player for us late in games. He may have been responsible for a couple of our victories. Without him, we might have lost some of those games down the stretch. He also led the team in forced fumbles with 4 of them. We only forced 8 as a team, but Fowler led the way there. He had just an awesome year. It was really exciting. So going down the list a little bit more, Puzzlesny only 68 tackles. Michael Bryan, and he's one guy I'm not really sure of what to do with going forward because I didn't see enough to have a lot of confidence in him as a good safety, but also I don't know how good of a corner he's going to be. So he's I think he's a good utility defensive back, but he doesn't really have a starting spot locked down right now. So it's kind of put me in a tough situation if I want to address another defensive back spot. And where does that leave Michael Bryan if I draft a corner? Devon House, okay, right cornerback. It was so ugly. We had House, we had McCray, we had Bryan, we had Gratz. Everybody, it seemed, played right cornerback this year, and none of them did a good enough job. Gratz and McCray are now free agents. House is still under contract, and there's going to be a lot of talk about him potentially being cut here. I know you guys probably want to see him get cut. Dan Scooter's an option with his, I think, $16 million contract and being a bench player and not really having a good role on the team. We saw a little bit of Stephen Cole. He's a nice little run defender. He'll hopefully develop into a guy that can play in the middle, although he's not that great in coverage. Franklin Fitzgerald was very hit or miss. He had some games where he looked like the best player in the rookie class, and other games he was completely silent. He got his sacks in bunches, so it wasn't a very consistent effort. Jonathan Cyprien did not start this year, played very little, and he's now a free agent and not someone I have a lot of plans to keep around. If it's cheap, I might, but I expect him to test. And there are those numbers. Jason Myers, 27 of 29. Bryan Anger had 65 punts. I need to get better at pinning teams inside the 20. Here are the kick return numbers, a 25-yard average here. We had a touchdown by Rashad Green. I think that was the first Titan game. And then Denard Robinson did a nice job on punt returns as well. So those are the season stats. And now we're going to go to the league leaders. So here are the annual awards, and I spoiled one for those who stuck around to the very end of Week 17. So you're going to know that one. But Phillip Rivers is the league MVP. Coach of the year is Marvin Lewis, and we had Dominic Carter very high at the beginning of the year, but then with things trailing off, he went down the standings. Let's go NFC first. Their offensive player of the year is Drew Brees. Defensive is Clay Matthews. Offensive rookie in the NFC goes to Justin Austin. And the rookie goes to Hunter Hyde of the Vikings. Best quarterback is Drew Brees. Running back is Joseph Randle. Receiver Dez Bryant. O-lineman Trey Turner. Defensive lineman Fletcher Cox. Linebacker Clay Matthews. Defensive back Richard Sherman. Kicker Stephen Hauschka. And now we'll go to the AFC. This is our chance to make some noise here. Offensive player of the year is Phillip Rivers and the MVP. Defensive player of the year is Derek Johnson. We had nobody here in the top 10. Offensive rookie of the year is Cooper Hankins of our rivals, the Houston Texans. He was great in Week 16. Defensive rookie of the year, of course, is Nate Bell. He was third place entering Week 17, but he closed the year with 2 more interceptions, and that helped him take home the trophy. He's got some legacy score now and some XP saved up. Best quarterback is Rivers. Running back Charles. Receiver Keenan Allen. O-lineman Marshall Yanda. Defensive lineman is J.J. Watt. Fowler was third. Best linebacker was Derek Johnson. Best defensive back was Will Hill. Nate Bell was second behind him. Could have gotten some more legacy. Best kicker was Sebastian Janikowski. So those are the awards. Yeah, always make sure that you save a new file when you go to the playoffs so you can still look at your scouting board and still have the proper salary information here. So this is everybody with an expiring contract. The remaining one. Alan Hearns, Spencer Paysinger, Rolando Mclean, and he's not going to come cheap. Luke Jokel, Brock Vereen, Chris Matthews, Dominic Easley, Brian Anger, our punter, Brandon Boykin, Case Keenum, Denard Robinson, Josh Wells, Mercedes Lewis, Dwayne Gratz, Jonathan Cyprien, Jamiz Olawale, Demetrius McCray, and Charles Johnson. So the big ones, Luke Jokel and Rolando Mclean. I would love to keep McClain around. He was great this year, but I know he's going to be a very expensive player. So we're going to have to see what the demand looks like. Maybe I let him test and try to get him a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure who would run up the price. Last year, he didn't accept a contract in the big free agency period, so he accepted a cheaper one-year offer after the draft. And let's see, potential cap casualties here. We could save some cap room. Here is Devon House. He's an option. There is Zane Beadles. Looks like no penalty there, and he's a backup. Dan Skuda. But this is if I would cut them now, so the numbers would be a little bit different in the offseason. So what are our priorities heading into the offseason? We have Blake Bortles and Nataki Mason, and not much, that we can trust moving forward at the quarterback position. Bortles is entering the final year of his contract, and Nataki Mason is entering his second season. He looked good in Week 17, and my plan right now is not to take a quarterback early, because I like to see these guys compete in the preseason once again and see how the quarterback situation shapes up. Bortles didn't have a great year. The accuracy is still a problem, and I like to see these guys have a fair battle once again that I think Bortles won hands down in year one, or this last preseason. I want to see them go at it again. Running back. I'm always going to look to get a running back late, so Rashad Marshall, he didn't do a terrible job, but I'm going to get competition in here. We're going to keep bringing it in at running back. And Robinson is a free agent, so keep that in mind. I do want to keep around Jamiz Olawale. And at receiver, I got some decisions to make. Do I want to keep around Allen Hurns? And do I want to let him keep starting? I'm open to finding another option to start. I like Allen Hurns, but I'm not sure I want he and Allen Robinson to be the starting receivers, because there are going to be some things I want to do going forward schematically. I would like to get a fast receiver on the team and try to do a better job creating yards after the catch. And I feel like Robinson and Hurns have a similar play style and don't offer enough in terms of yards after the catch. They're not very fast. Hurns is faster, but he's not a fast receiver. I'm looking for someone in the mold of a Jeremy Maclin. And so we move on to tight end. We could see some more of a two tight end focus next year. We're going to see a lot more Michael Riley, and I think we're going to need another tight end on the roster because Mercedes Lewis isn't going to fit what I want to do. And with more receivers or more tight ends playing, I need to have options behind them if they get tired, if they get injured. So need to find another tight end for the bench, but Riley's going to play a lot next year. At tackle, I would like to keep around Luke Jokel. I like to see what Ryan Cole can do at guard. He has very good ratings that translate. He has good impact and 84 pass block. He has really good ratings for a rookie, and I'd like to get him some development. Brandon Linder at right guard is doing okay. Could do a better job in pass protection. Jeremy Parnell just isn't getting it done. The impact blocking isn't going to get better. He's a veteran at this point. These ratings are good. This rating is not, and the impact is very important. On the line, I could still look to get some depth here. I'd like to get another run stopper. Deontay Nelson needs to improve in his second season. At D tackle, I don't think we need to keep around both Easley and Michael Bennett. I could pick up a D tackle, but I want more of a run stuffer off the bench that can give Ziggy Hood a little rest. At linebacker, we could always look to strengthen this depth. We saw Telvin Smith get hurt at one point, and it wasn't very pretty when that happened. I would like to get a coverage linebacker on here, but I'll take whatever I can get. I just want a quality linebacker and someone who can be reliable enough to come off the bench if need be. At corner, one thing's for certain, we have a number one corner, and that is Nate Bell. 8 interceptions this year, a fantastic rookie campaign, but Gratz is a free agent, McCray's a free agent, Boykin's a free agent, Bryan's uncertain, and Devon House hasn't been good enough. So maybe we do have to draft another cornerback, and I have found some good ones. I definitely want to address free safety. Byron Maxwell has proven nothing that he can be a long-term solution. I want a guy that can be trusted to have range and play a lot of cover one. That's going to put him in tough situations, but I want a fast free safety that can cover a lot of ground. Strong safety, I like Sergio Brown. He does his job here, no complaints whatsoever. And these are the picks that we have. Chicago gave us a first-round pick in their attempt, I believe, to get Justin Austin in the past draft. So we have 2 firsts, including theirs, and theirs is a top 5 pick because they finished 5-11, I believe. We also have their 4th and Washington's 4th-round picks. So 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 3rd, 3 fourths, a 5, 6, and 7. Nice slate of picks. A chance to maybe trade up if I have a guy I'm targeting because I'm not sure I can handle 10 or 11 rookies on the team, but I want to bring in some good talent, bring in some players who can compete, and let's take a look at the scouting board quick. So at the top, we have a lot of disappointing players. Look at these guys. 3rd round projected now, 4th talent, 2nd, 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 and then we get to some first rounders. Here is Josh Buchanan, a nice first round corner. We took cornerbacks with our first 2 picks last year, and that might be our best value with the Chicago Bears first round pick. Here's a nice linebacker from LSU. There's a quarterback, another corner, Jerron Mack, a good tackle in Chase Britt. But I didn't feel like I could address a lot of different needs here early on. There are some good corners and there's some good tackles. Well, I guess there's some good linebackers, so I guess it wasn't really what I was looking for necessarily. I would love to get another playmaking wide receiver, but there just isn't a lot here early. And if you look at everybody else, there aren't a lot of like big guys, so I can't really assess much until we get to the combine and I see some 40s and I see some 3 cones. Like Keaston Holiday here, I want to see what he can do. The catch in traffic, the B- release. I don't care about the height. If he can fly and he has B- release, he's going to be a good player. And so he's very high on my board right now. In terms of tight ends, I think we definitely need to do some more scouting here, but there aren't many projected that are actually draftable. So it could be a position that we address more with a trade or in free agency, depending on what's available. There are some very good tackles. I am not opposed to moving a left tackle to right tackle or moving Luke Jokel to right tackle. At the end of the day, we just have to have 2 good tackles regardless. And so you can see everything else that I've drafted here. I have gone in depth on some of these prospects in my prospect previews. I wish this draft had some more talent up high so we could be aggressive. We have 2 first-round picks. We have the draft ammo to trade up, but I'm not sure there are a lot of players worth trading up for in the first round. So Josh Buchanan, he's definitely in consideration from UCLA. But I think once the combine numbers are out and I can see how athletic these guys are and how they fit into what I want to do, I'll have a good idea of what we need to target early, and we'll go from there with the draft. The first draft went very well for us. It's going to be hard to top, but I have some good picks. I need to make the most of them for Season 3. And so, guys, that is it for this season recap video. We will have the live stream tomorrow on Twitch at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And I'll be going through the entire Season 2 off-season. And then we're going to move on to Season 3. I'll have the highlight video coming out soon. I'll have the preseason after that and the edited off-season like normal. And then we'll jump into Season 3 and see where this team is after 2 off-seasons of improving the roster. Thank you all for watching. Please leave your feedback down below. I want to see a lot of it. Let me know what you think we have to do in the off-season to get this team to the playoffs in Season 3. We have to make the offense better this year. That is for certain. But we also have some areas to shore up on defense. And we need to create some depth because we were lucky enough that we didn't have a lot of key injuries this season. And if a player like Nate Bell had gotten hurt, I hate to think where this team would have been. But that's it for today. Thank you guys again. I'll see you in the live stream of the offseason tomorrow. Have a great day.